first woman that I talked to, she was a bit older. She could have been my mom. And I was just kind of shocked. It was a very dingy alley, and it was very dark and very depressing. And the woman, she just looked like someone had run over her with a truck. And it just made a very lasting impact that these women, they have no hope, and they have no life, they have no perspective, and they just stand there on the street. And it just struck me that these women are just in need of a lot of hope.
Human trafficking is a great injustice in our world, and it's increasing, and it's not even that present in the media. I mean, it's getting more so, but most people that I come in contact with, they don't think about that on a daily basis, and it just makes me really angry. And if through my faith I have something that I can do something against that with, then it kind of makes sense.
About 90% of all women in prostitution have been abused, sexually abused, either in the family or by, close people by the age of 14. And many of the girls we've talked to have come from broken relationships, broken families, dysfunctional families, and also broken marriages or boyfriends who, let them down. And so some see this as a way of sort of getting back at men, really. And others, if they have children, it's a way to survive. But quite a few of those girls have goals. I'm going to stay for so many years, and I'm going to earn money, and I'm going to do this or that. And some have done that. Others are stuck.
Alabaster Jar is a ministry who tries to make friends with people that probably don't have many friends in our society and are looked down on, and we try to do that by bringing coffee and smiling and telling them about a God that loves everyone no matter what they do.
Well, specifically working with women in prostitution, and we use that term, not prostitute. And I think this is important because, the word prostitute has so much negativity about it, and it's demeaning, whereas women working in prostitution, or prostituted women, is really what they do, not who they are. So it just restores a little dignity, and this ministry is all about trying to restore dignity.
Berlin in Germany, because it's so central, is a place in Europe where there's quite a lot of changing of human kind of resources in terms of trafficking, and so we can see a lot of change on the streets, especially from Eastern Europe. So that brings with it a lot of difficulties because of the language barriers. That's like the hardest and the saddest, because we want to hear their stories so much, but we can't really, and that's when the literature comes in, because that's sometimes the only way that we can talk at all about God and communicate something. There's so many stories about prostitutes in the Bible, so that's always a great way to start, and it's a great way for them to see that we have a God who doesn't devalue someone the way that we as human beings do. And I think it's so great we can talk about the Bible and the stories in it so naturally, because it's such a direct contact. Not every profession is in the Bible, but prostitution is there actually quite a lot.
When you tell somebody something small like, yeah, I think you look really pretty today, and they look like you've given them the world, it's there's nothing else like it, kind of, to actually be involved in changing a person's life and helping them see themselves through eyes that God, like how God sees them, what their worth is and their value and their dignity.
I think it's very important that our work here is holistic. We're there for the women, and the underlying focus all the time for me is the gospel of Jesus Christ, that we want to share the love of Christ with the women. Giving them the scripture, we're basically just trying to say there's a God there that loves you, and as you are,